Defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus earlier today, after just one season, giving up over 30 points a game, most in the NFL, was the Cowboys defense. Owner and general manager Jerry Jones saying in a statement, quote, "It was clear that change was needed," end quote. The Cowboys will host their annual end-of-season press conference at 11:30 tomorrow morning, where Jerry, Steven, and Brian Schottenheimer will speak. Other big shakeups? John Harbaugh out after 18 seasons in Baltimore.
If you smoke, take it outside. Get the facts at don'tpassgas.org.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Good evening and welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Thank you for listening, however you may be listening, whether that's on 94.1 on your FM dial, if you happen to be locked in at sasportstar.com, listening via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you happen to be watching the show live on YouTube. Appreciate everyone that's there. Go there at SA Sports Star on YouTube. You can watch the show as it happens. See me in the Cowboys gear that I am forced to wear, Aggie gear later this week. Titans jersey at some point. It's all there. It's all in the back corner. You can see it just behind me over here. So couldn't finish 72 ounces worth of steak and all the fixings. This is my punishment that I have to suffer through. So appreciate all y'all for rolling along with me tonight. It is always a good time. Great to be back after a time off. By saying it could pass. No, it's just the old school Cowboys jersey. Thanks to Cowboy James. It's a Roger Staubach jersey, which, by the way, if I'm going to wear a Cowboys jersey, a military hero like Roger Staubach, Heisman Trophy winner for Navy, not a bad punishment as far as punishments go. Cowboys making news, though, as they started the day early this morning, firing Matt Eberflus finally, as he led one of the worst defenses in the Cowboys history, giving up the most points, over 30 points a game, most in the NFL, 30th in sacks, 30th in takeaways. They weren't good at getting pressure. They weren't good at taking the ball away. They weren't good at adapting. They weren't good at basically doing anything on defense. And it cost Matt Eberflus his job, and rightfully so, because most of it seemed to come down to reluctance to adapt his scheme to what the players wanted to do, to what the best suited the players, whether it was bringing pressure, whether it was playing man, if it was pressing up, no matter what it called for. Flus thought his system was the end-all, be-all. And I've always said this about coaches: if you are married to a system, you are not long for coaching. Systems need to be adapted to players at all times, because you don't always have players that fit your system uniquely. And whether that is you as a head coach first coming in, you as a coach throughout the season, getting players drafted by a GM, you aren't the guy that picks the groceries and gets to make the dinner. You are forced to make the dinner with the groceries bought for you, usually by a general manager that is not you. Now, the best relationships are symbiotic, in which you work hand in hand with the general manager to get exactly what you need and fits best for your team. But especially in Dallas, that's not always or ever going to be the case when Jerry Jones is the one calling the shots and making the calls throughout the draft and free agency. And you have to be able to adapt, whether it's your scheme, or whatever it else may be to go ahead and fix the issues at hand. However, best you can fix them, because your scheme won't always work. Earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, Rob and AJ first to react to the news that Matt Eberflus canned up in Dallas, and now the search begins for the next.
We found out just before the break, Adam Schefter giving a little confirmation.
He's the voucher.
Matt Eberflus, gonzo, done, see ya, out.
I guess
beat it
in the cold gray light of dawn after all that process that Shotty told us about, how they were just really going to drink in the whole year and look back at all the games and find the reasons. And it came pretty early. The reason was you're the reason, Eberflus.
How many of these writers, like Cowboys writers, do you think had a story already ready to
shoot?
Press
they pressed
send on?
the moment they saw the Schefter tweet. Bam, done.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and the funny thing is,
RJ definitely.
I wonder if they were holding on to him because he was a late fire. I don't know why they waited till today. Maybe it was done.
They did all their exit interviews.
Got their lawyers and got the money to buy out and all in place and got that there. But I also wonder if somebody else was set free that they covet, that they need to jump on board and go get him. Like, is Raheem Morris they hired Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
They've hired former, defensive head coaches to come in and do this and given them free reign. They did the same thing with a former Vikings coach that came back a couple years prior. Go run the defense. We'll leave you alone. You've got the kind of experience that will allow you to be who you want to be. That certainly was Dan Quinn. He had his own side of the building. He coached the defense and let McCarthy handle the offense, and the two didn't meet. I wonder if that's the formula here.
It's not much different from the start of the McCarthy era. Remember, after 1 year of McCarthy, he had to fire Mike Nolan.
A terrible hire. That'll go down as one of the worst the Cowboys ever made. Exactly. Cut bait while you can. Get rid of the problem. Go get a guy who can really go do it and give you more time. Remember how many times we had to talk about Eberflus and talk about Shotty having to spend time on the defensive side of the building? Maybe they go hire the experienced coach like a Raheem Morris, who you just pay the money because you have to pay him because he's looking for a head coaching job, and say, just for a year, you come do this and you'll get another head coaching job. Look at Dan. Dan got another gig because of what he did with us. Same thing will happen here if you can turn this thing around.
This will be next year will be the fourth consecutive year where the Cowboys have a different defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn, Mike Zimmer, Matt Eberflus, and insert X
new
here,
dude
when we talk about who they're going to go after, Alexander said, now who do they hire? I think a lot of that depends on who gets hired in this coaching cycle as far as head coaches go.
Because I do like the idea of the Dan Quinn hire where you're truly an assistant head coach. You just go handle that side of the ball, and we'll talk on Friday as far as what the game plan will look like. But and let Shotty be the offensive head coach. And that, quite frankly, the offense did pan out. But the fact that he had to spend time on the other side of the building tells you what the situation they found themselves. And when you put all the Easter eggs together, he was so destined to be fired fast. It's amazing he made it to Tuesday morning.
Raheem Morris, a call you'd make?
Raheem's my first call.
I think mine too.
He's my first call. I know I'm going to have to pay him.
He had a ton of success when he was with the Rams.
Shoot, yeah, man. And he does the things that our defense wanted to do but wasn't allowed to do. He's a man cover guy. He's an edge rush blitz kind of dude. He's not, let the linebackers make the tackles and the defensive linemen hold him up, that old style. No. He's more of the Dan Quinn attacking style of defense that I think Cowboy fans want. And more importantly, Jerry Jones has always been more apt to draft that style of player.
And he's a lifer. Like, he's a dude who's been coaching his whole life. He is not unlike Kyle Shanahan in that, he went to college to play football, but mostly he was there to learn football.
He was born to coach.
And as soon as he graduated, he became a grad assistant and started his coaching career. I like guys like that because he can vibe with everybody. Because Raheem Morris gives the feel of a player. He also gives the feel of a guy who's much younger than he is. Raheem Morris is like 50. He comes across like he's 35. Like, there is something to that.
Now, there is the thing about, does Shotty feel comfortable enough to go hire what could be his replacement?
No. Here's the other thing, and this is why he should be comfortable. Now you have a two-time failure at head coach.
Yeah, no, you're right. But
Like,
there is the
don't
fact that
Raheem Morris is never going to be a head coach again.
well, McCarthy, when he hired Dan Quinn, had to know that there's a strong possibility that if I get fired, he'll get the job.
Yeah.
And I think if you bring in Raheem Morris, who is a two-time loser,
He's below a 40% winning percentage in his career.
and that might be enough to where
6 years
I'm comfortable.
You're sub 40%. That nobody's hiring this guy again.
And some of that's situation.
Sure.
Some of that's not his fault. But when you're hiring the dude, you have to know if he does as good a job as I want him to do, he could very well replace me if my side. There's nothing wrong with that, but that takes a very well-reasoned and very comfortable man to do that, to hire the dude that very well could take your job.
Yeah. B. Hannon says Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
He's a young buck. I think he's still aspiring to other stuff.
I think he is too, but he also, I mean, aspire all you want.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel right to me. Maybe he interviews great.
I hated Brandon Staley as a head coach. I think Brandon Staley is a great coordinator. Another guy who had had success with the Rams. Guys off that McVay tree. If you got some McVay juju on you, I'm going to be interested. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the Cowboys go. I think a lot of it depends on who gets hired.
So does DC want out of Kansas City?
Spagnuolo?
Yeah. If he,
he
I know he wants to interview for a head coaching job, but if he wants to exit Kansas City, that'd be another guy I'd call.
If I'll say this, if I'm Spags, I am hanging around because it feels like Andy Reid is so close to walking out
and
that you may just automatically get that gig. But and if you've got a chance to coach, even a slight chance to be the head coach for Patrick Mahomes, you take it because he might drag you to a Super Bowl.
And he could be enough to get a head coach and get it at one of these places. But that I'm talking about a style that will sell tickets for the Cowboys, that will help lure in guys, the edge rushing blitz, man coverage, press kind of stuff that, that kind of lends the kind of excitement and the turnovers that, the Cowboys have so desperately kind of chased. I think that's the kind of DC they're going to hire. But he's another one of this. Either I hire the whiz kid, who I think will be here for a minute, or I go hire the old coach who's trying to find a way back, one or the other. I don't hire a middling dude that's been a DC forever. That's not where I'm going.
I don't think that's what I'm looking for either. I've heard Anthony Weaver's name get knocked around.
I don't know enough about him.
I know he's the D-line coach for the Ravens. Yeah. I've heard I can't think of the guy's name. The Eagles corner coach, Christian Parker is his name.
Is this a position coach job? Would you bring in a position coach?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would want someone who's got some experience. Of course, I mean, you just took a guy in Matt Eberflus who was a head coach and he flamed out pretty quick too.
Absolute failure.
And I don't know that. Yeah, I think you've got to have someone who's been around for a while and has done big boy jobs. I'd rather. That's why I mentioned Raheem Morris first. And I've mentioned Brian Flores before. Although I think Brian Flores is. I think if I'm him, I'm above this job. Well, I'm either want a head coach job or I'm going to stay until I get a head coach job.
The thing is, to hire him as a DC, he can't just leave to go. You'd have to give him a promotion, to get him. So you'd have to name him assistant head coach, and that's nothing wrong with that.
No,
but that's the only way you could get a guy like Flores, and I think that would be my first call. Probably already would have been. If you're any kind of franchise with aspirations of winning, you call him to be your DC.
Brian Flores isn't. He is now no longer under contract with the Vikings.
Oh, I know. You would have.
So you don't have to per se. Like they don't have to ask permission to talk to him.
I guess that's true. He's free.
He's now a free agent.
But if you haven't already called Flores, I don't care what. You are aspiring for a different kind of coach, and I think the Cowboys, like I said, want a guy like Zimmer, like Quinn. Just go do it. Tell me what you want and be successful so I can focus on what really moves the needle in Dallas, and that's the offense.
Yeah. I think this is it's a good job. It ain't a great job.
No, it is not a
especially now that you don't have there's no Micah, none of that around.
There's no Micah, but here's the good news. You can show up as the DC, kind of like when you first rolled in the doors here, when you get everything you want. For a couple of years, True. You get every draft pick. You brought me in to be successful. I want both those draft picks to come to this side of the ball. Go figure out your offensive line elsewhere, man. You're paying me a bunch of money to fix this defense. You better give me the picks. So it'd be a good place to land.
C-Note says, has Spags ever been a head coach in the NFL? He was with the St. Louis Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was there for 3 years, and he had a 1-win season and a 2-win season. He was a disaster as a head coach.
But
that was, again, that's the St. Louis Rams. That's how long ago it was.
Been a long time ago. But
I can't think of the years off the top of my head, but it's been a good while.
06, 7, 8.
I would guess 08, 09,
Yeah,
somewhere around then. But I think that he's found a really comfortable spot.
He's done more with less than any great DC I've seen in a long time.
Look, I think Brian Flores is a brilliant defensive coordinator. I think he is probably the odds-on favorite to get the job in Las Vegas as the head coach there, with Tom Brady running that coaching search. It just feels like a fit for whatever reason. As far as John Harbaugh is being done, Anthony Weaver kind of feels like the guy in Baltimore, kind of returned home for him. He played in Baltimore for a bit. He's been a hot name since he was in Houston as a defensive assistant and coordinator there. So I could see that. As it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, I think a name to keep an eye on is Jeff Ulbrich. Quinnen Williams woke up this morning on Instagram after the news of Eberflus being gone, writing how happy he was to be a Cowboys, and there were great things to come. Ulbrich just got blew out. He was the defensive coordinator in Atlanta. That whole staff got blown out. And I know everybody's talking about Raheem Morris, but when it comes to Ulbrich, he is a guy that helped Atlanta have a pretty good defense this year. They rushed the passer a lot better this year, which has kind of been their bugaboo in recent years, which is why they traded their first-round pick away to get defensive end help. And it panned out because they got a defensive end that ends up getting you over 10 sacks in his rookie year. So they did help to transform that Falcons defense a little bit. And before that, he was the defensive coordinator in New York with the Jets from 2001 to 2004 under Robert Saleh, but with Quinnen Williams. So there is an established relationship there between those two. And Quinnen Williams seemed very happy. And, Jerry likes his guys that can claim to have been a head coach at some point to kind of run that side of the ball while the other head coach / coordinator runs their respective side of the ball. That's what he did with Dan Quinn, and it worked out great. Not so much with Eberflus, not so much with Mike Zimmer, but when you look at Jeff Ulbrich, he's an up-and-coming name. He's been an interim head coach. Quinnen Williams has an established history with them in New York, seemed very excited about the things to come in Dallas. I think Jeff Ulbrich is a name to keep an eye on when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator search, or at least that's the one that I'm circling because it's not the big name. He ultimately, I don't think, will be the most expensive name when you're looking to hire someone. And I think it will work well with Brian Schottenheimer, with the type of personality that I have heard that he portends to be with his players. He brings the same amount of energy that a Brian Schottenheimer does. I think they would have similar philosophies. And I think Brian Schottenheimer will be a part of this interview process and will have a voice in who the next defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys is. Will he have the final say? No, but I think he will have a much bigger say than he had when it came to Matt Eberflus hiring the first time around. Same way that Mike McCarthy, Brian Nolan didn't have a choice when it came to hiring Dan Quinn. This time, there was no choice for Flus or for Schottenheimer when it came to Flus. I think this time he'll have a voice in the situation. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. When we come back, more on Matt Eberflus's firing and the potential letting go of a legend in Jim Harbaugh. Shereen Williams of Pro Football Talk ended up joining the Blitz a little bit earlier today. We'll bring you part of that. Plus, Indy Kalu joined the Blitz earlier today as we talk about the Texans playoff hopes coming up here in a few minutes. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
It's a hump day on the Morning Huddle. How did the Spurs look in Memphis? How will they look against the Lakers?
Eberflus is gone. Where's the defensive coordinator coming from? Lots of candidates. We'll go down them all. We're talking Cowboys and college football. Oh, yeah, and the Spurs. Get here early. Party such a city.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
The football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. You can make picks and win money right now here in Texas, and it is so easy. You pick your favorite players. Are they going to go higher or lower on their stats? Touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, whatever. You get it right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. And I think there's some great opportunities right now because we know some of these teams really care. Some of these teams really don't care. So some of these star players, you expect maybe they'll go out and play a couple snaps and be done for the day. Maybe look at some lowers on them. Maybe take some hires on some of the backup guys you think will get some run. Either way, there's always plenty of action to be had on Underdog. What are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code Alamo. You'll get $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code Alamo. Underdog. Make picks and win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Texas. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Eczema flaring up again? We have good news. Ectoderm. If you or someone you love suffers from eczema or dermatitis, get Ectoderm, the common sense answer for eczema. This stuff really does work. Ectoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives. Take back control of your eczema with affordable, fast-acting Ectoderm Flare Control Cream. Ectoderm. It's in the first aid aisle of your local Walmart, H-E-B, and other fine stores.
Joel, I've invented the perfect exercise machine. It's practical, efficient, and fits in any home. I give you the Row and Go. Ta-da! It's a rowing machine that connects to your toilet, so you can row and...
Stop. Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC will help homes stay in tip-top shape. Call Quarter Moon 651-5899.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, 210-651-5899.
License number M16004, TACLA 141074E.
Over 3 million Texans struggle with diabetes. There are neighbors. Features. Doctors and nurses, police officers, and often their family members. Across every walk of life, Texans may be fighting a serious health battle, but there's hope for a cure. Right now, when you make a donation to HelpStopDiabetes.com, Thomas J. Henry will generously match your donation, with all proceeds supporting the American Diabetes Association. Because when we take care of each other, we take care of Texas. Please make your donation today. Visit HelpStopDiabetes.com.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
94.1.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I'm James Pledger. Appreciate y'all riding along with me tonight as we're back. Lots of comments in the set on a YouTube page. People saying Rex Ryan. I don't know. Rex feels dated. I worry about coaches, especially, I don't know whether it's Jason Garrett or whoever it may be, that have been out of coaching for a while and how sharp they keep their skill set, how much they adapt as they are away from the game and as they get further and further away from the game. I look for people that are up and coming. Jeff Ulbrich seems to be one of those guys. There are multiple people. We saw Clint Kubiak's name mentioned as a guy who is a fast riser right now. I think Joe Brady will be a great head coach at some point. He has innovated his offenses from LSU to the NFL and has done well almost everywhere he's been as an offensive coordinator. I think those are the types of things that matter. And apparently one of the reasons John Harbaugh is gone in Baltimore is he didn't want to let go of Todd Monken. I think Todd Monken did a great job of evolving his offense around Lamar Jackson. And so I can see him standing on a desk for him. Shereen Williams of Pro Football Talk talking about not just John Harbaugh and where he could be the favorite, which could be in direct competition with the Dallas Cowboys, but also where Dallas could and should be looking when it comes to their new defensive coordinator after the ousting of Matt Eberflus. This was earlier this afternoon on the Blitz.
John Harbaugh got fired. And again, might have been time. It's still surprising when you see it. Schefter just tweeted, within 45 minutes of the announcement, his agent got calls from 7 teams, which means somebody with a coach call too. It's bizarre.
Not surprising that he got that many calls. Obviously, I think he's an upgrade on, the overall coaches who are out there. He has a Super Bowl title and made the playoffs 12 of his 18 seasons. Probably should have been 13 of 18, but it didn't work out that way. And, that field goal probably was the difference between Tomlin staying, at least for now, and Harbaugh leaving. So pretty interesting that one kick can make that big of a difference. Now there's still talk that, Tomlin may be headed to Fox after this season. We're going to see how this plays out for him and how far they go. But, yeah, it's, when you're at a place for that long, it's stunning when it finally happens and somebody fires you. And, I just finished putting up his statement and sounded pretty stunned by the news. And make no mistake, this was a firing. It wasn't mutual. It wasn't any of his decision based on all the statements that were put out there by the Ravens and by Harbaugh. This was the decision that the Ravens made to move on from him. So whenever you change coaches, you got to be careful. You got to find an upgrade on the one you have, and that may be difficult to do. Now, look, I don't think he did great coaching jobs over the past few years. He couldn't get past the AFC Championship game when they have won with Lamar Jackson, who's had MVP seasons since he's been in Baltimore, but they couldn't get it in the postseason. So I don't know how good his coaching jobs have been over the last handful of seasons, but I do know that he's better than a lot of coaches out there, and he's a coach that I certainly would want to talk to and probably would want to hire.
Well, and unfortunately for the Dallas Cowboys and everybody else in the NFC East, that new team could be the New York Giants. And that could be good. I saw somewhere, Shireen, and I don't know if you know this or not, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but part of the firing of Harbaugh today was that he wouldn't fire his offensive coordinator. Have you seen anything or heard anything about that?
No, but, sometimes it comes down to things like that. And when you're a coach, and you want your assistants, you want to be able to hire and fire your own assistants. You don't want to be told what to do. And I think John Harbaugh is owed that for 18 seasons and what he's done. He's owed to be allowed to pick his coaching staff. And whoever that is, whether he wants to keep somebody or move on from somebody, that should be his choice and nobody else's choice. So, there could be some validity to that. I don't know that we'll ever know the whole story. I don't know that we ever know the whole stories of a lot of these decisions that are made, but the Ravens made the decision for whatever reasons. And now they're looking for the next head coach. And I guess the question I would ask is, who do you hire? Again, I think it's good that they both get a new start. I think it was probably needed. But who are you going to find who is better than what you had? I know I would make some calls to some college coaches. I do know that. But they got to figure out who they're going to hire that's better than what John Harbaugh was and give them a chance to win. It's now suddenly, I think, probably the best job out there. If you're one of the top candidates, I think where you want to go.
It's going to be interesting. Shireen Williams from Pro Football Talk joining us here on the Blitz. And it's funny you mentioned college coaches. A buddy of mine that is a Ravens fan said, I don't know if he's available, but Kurt Cignetti would be on the top of my list. And again, it's been several weeks, but when Sark's name was mentioned for some NFL jobs, and I know the way Sark reacted, but in the world of college football right now, I would not be surprised to see some of the top college coaches jumping for the NFL just for the better quality of life.
Yes, it's much better. It's a much easier job. Not that it's easy. You paid a lot of money either way you go, but you don't have NIL. You don't have the portal. You don't have to worry about a lot of those things that you have to worry about in college. You don't have to worry about kids going to class or not going to class, although I don't know if that's as big a concern as it used to be. But there are bigger concerns, I think, in college than in the NFL that you have to worry about. And I just think the NFL right now is a much easier job, making the same or more money. These owners are willing to pay. Not a lot of them do pay. I think college coaches overall are better paid than NFL coaches, but they also do more work. And I think NFL coaches should be willing to pay more money. They're billionaires. So if you want a really good head coach, and I think here's the other thing, I think it's much easier today to go from college to pros than it used to be. We used to say, Nick Saban flamed out and so flamed out, and these guys couldn't get it done aside from Jimmy Johnson, and if you want to include Barry Switzer for what he did with Jimmy Johnson's team. But there weren't a ton of them who crossed over that were successful, and then Pete Carroll did it. And, but I think it's easier now than what it once was. And if I'm looking for a head coach, especially the Ravens, and I want an upgrade on John Harbaugh, I'm making the calls to Cignetti. I'm making the calls to Sark. I'm making the calls to Kirby Smart. And leaks have them tell me no, that they're not interested in the job.
Well, that's interesting. And I don't know about you, Shireen, but I can't remember this many job openings at this time of the year in the NFL in a very long time. Can you?
It seems about the same to me. I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers. And I don't know that we're done either. Again, I think you watch Pittsburgh. I think you still watch Tampa. I'm not sure Tampa's certain. I'm not sure Miami's for certain. I think there still could be a change at all those places. So we still could have more. I will say this, before like a week ago, I would have told you that I thought there were going to be far less than we usually have. And it hasn't worked out like that at all. I think this is going to be on par or maybe a little bit more than what we've had in recent seasons. But it's an interesting question. I'll have to go back and look exactly how many we had last year, the year before, and the year before that. But, these owners now have a quick trigger. They expect, and they should. I mean, you look at what some of these guys who've come in, Mike Vrabel came in, Liam Cohen came in, and Ben Johnson came in, and all of a sudden they're winning. They're going to the postseason. They're favored. Mike McDonald hasn't been there long. So the turnarounds can be very quick. And so you're not going to get very many years. That's just reality. You got to show that you can get to the postseason. You got to show you can be successful in the postseason, and you're not going to get very many years to do that.
Shireen Williams from Pro Football Talk joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. One of those first-year head coaches that didn't make the playoffs is Brian Schottenheimer. Offensively, they were good. Defensively, they were awful. And today, Eberflus gets fired as defensive coordinator. Honestly, I don't know if I'm surprised or not. I don't want to celebrate anybody losing their job, but I think Jerry made the right decision. I'm just surprised Jerry made the right decision and did it so quickly because the defense was that bad this year.
Completely agree with you. Because he doesn't like buying out contracts, which is what he did in this situation. Mike Nolan, we talked about, was the last one that he's done that's bought out a contract. And now we're going to see if he will actually pay to get a good defensive coordinator. You're going to go get a Jim Schwartz or Brian Flores or, some of these guys with name recognition who are really good at what they do, proven at what they do. Or are you just going to settle for somebody that you don't have to pay a lot of money to? And we see Jerry do that far too often. But I like that they made the decision quickly. It needed to be made. And they'll go get a different defensive coordinator. The problem, again, is how many defensive coordinators they've had year after year after year since Dan Quinn left. They are changing defensive coordinators, and it's hard to match the personnel to the scheme in 1 year. And that's what they tried to do every single. There was some frustration, I will tell you. Eberflus came in and told them that he planned to play a lot of man defense. They didn't. We all know that. They played a lot of zone, and there was frustration within the organization that they played too much zone defense with the players that they had. And that's what they drafted for. Ravel is a man corner, and that's why they drafted him, because he fit what Eberflus told them that he was going to do, and he didn't do it. So a lot of frustration with that. They talked about how good Quinn was. Quinn came in, and Quinn told them exactly what he wanted. This is what I want to fit my scheme, and they went out and got those players. And they said he was the absolute best at it. And that's what they want. They want somebody to come in and tell them, these players I want. This is the kind of player I want. This is who I want. And since Dan Quinn, they just haven't had a defensive coordinator who's done that. That's one thing I think they'll look for, is somebody who knows exactly what he wants, the type of players he wants to fit his scheme. And frankly, part of it is going to be fitting the scheme around the personnel that you have. If they keep all three defensive tackles, highly paid defensive tackles, you're going to have to figure out how to get those three guys on the field.
I saw it earlier on our YouTube live chat. Somebody asked me if you trade Osa to Washington for a second-round pick. Absolutely at this point. If you're going to keep Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams, the pay of Osa Odigizua was premature. If those were the moves you were going to make to fortify the interior of your defensive line, you can use that money elsewhere on your roster. But you got to find a guy that's going to tell you exactly what he wants, the way Dan Quinn did, and not sugarcoat, not tell you what you want to hear, but be a man of the word, because the Joneses will go make that happen, as we've seen in the past. And it's one of those things where you've got a couple of great defensive tackles now. You have to build around them. And I think two of the pieces they need are going to be linebacker and corner. Potentially safety. And Caleb Downs is the name I've watched in the draft, the safety from Ohio State. That's a name I definitely watch for in the first round of the draft, if not linebacker. But it's going to be very interesting to see what is addressed before the draft in free agency with the money that they're going to have to play with. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. When we come back, we're going to take a look over towards the rest of the NFL, there is a question being posed this morning on the Morning Huddle about what should potentially one team do when it comes to their head coaching vacancy. And it makes a lot of sense. We'll discuss coming up next here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
America's best high school football players are coming to San Antonio. It's the Navy All-American Bowl at the Alamo Dome on Saturday, January 11th. Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, and Jeremiah Smith played here. Join us for a day of exciting football to see the stars of tomorrow at the Navy All-American Bowl, followed by the San Antonio Sports All-Star Football Game, presented by Valero. Fan Zone opens at 9:30 a.m. Tickets on sale at the Dome box office and Ticketmaster.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state, only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Get 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil, a Wix filter, and a $15 gift card after rebate at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
94.1 FM.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I'm James Pleasure. Appreciate y'all for joining me this evening as we take you up till 7 o'clock. Now, something was brought up earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, and it piqued my curiosity. They posed the question. You're the Raiders. You have the number 1 pick in the draft. You are likely taking Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall because you need a quarterback. Do you try to pair him with Kurt Cinetti and bring him, his culture, system, everything with Fernando to Las Vegas? And I've heard it mulled about, but I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it, especially since he just signed that extension earlier this year. But if you're the NFL, you can money whip a coach. You give him a chance to pair up with the guy that has taken him and likely will take him to a national championship this year because Indiana looks that damn good. if you feel confident in Fernando Mendoza and what he will be at the next level, and you feel confident about you, your system, your ability, your culture, and he does, just Google him. It would be a hell of a social experiment, to say the least. But I also do feel like Kurt Sidnetti, a lot of people talk about, college coaches, this, that. You're either a coach or you're not. You relate to players or you don't. And I think he can relate to players, and I think he knows how to get through to them. And especially in the NFL, they care about wins and losses. They care about bottom line. They care that they don't need anything more than you being honest with them about what their job is and what's expected of them, because they're pros and they're paid. And basically in college, they're pros and paid now. But in the NFL, at least you get an off season. At least you get a life. And is it something he would consider? It'd be very, very difficult to turn down the option to go to the NFL, no matter who you are in college, because quality of life right now. And until college fixes that, I could see great coaches, if given the opportunity, the chance to jump and go to the NFL, just because of the way the college calendar works and the no days off and the always recruiting and the portal while you're in the playoffs and everything that comes along with what college football is right now. And what is intriguing about it is also what is broken about it right now. And they have to get a handle on that. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I'm James Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Indy Kalu joined the Blitz earlier today as we get ready for Texans and Steelers. We'll bring you some of that as we come back here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Hi there, I'm John O'Hurley. You know, our pets are beloved family members. But sadly, though, there are so many dogs that get euthanized every day due to the lack of funding. To give them a chance at adoption, I invite you to support Puppy Food Bank. Thanks to generous donors like you, all of the food sent to pet shelters from Puppy Food Bank never comes with a bill. So please go to puppyfoodbank.org and make a generous, caring $15 donation every month. Your donation will absolutely save pet lives.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in San Antonio without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in San Antonio for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text INVEST to 64,000. San Antonio is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop this week right here in San Antonio and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text INVEST to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes. And registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text INVEST to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text INVEST to 64,000.
Meet Lee Platts, a renter whose possessions fill not only her apartment, but also the darkest corners of a mini storage unit. A land of both truth and fiction. Truth, everything inside is protected by Progressive. Fiction, one day Lee will fit into her clothes from senior year of high school. Renters, discover coverage for what you love and what you can't get rid of in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-290-7100. 800-290-7100. 800-290-7100.
Everybody loves the season of giving, but now the season of paying for it is upon us. That not so wonderful time of the year when millions of Americans open their credit card statements, stare in horror at the balance, and resolve then and there to find new ways to save money. If you're among those Americans, why not start by cutting your wireless bill in half right now with Pure Talk's Saver Plan? It's easy. You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super fast nationwide 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Ho, ho, ho. And if you're active or former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. That's pound 250. Say Mike Rowe for the gift that keeps on saving from America's wireless company, Pure Talk.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Avatar Fire and Ash has arrived.
I am the fire!
Get your 3D tickets now for the greatest chapter of the biggest saga in history.
Whatever happens, protect his family.
Critics rave it's by far the best Avatar movie.
If your father and I do not return, you go as far and as fast as you can.
Movies don't get any bigger than this. Avatar Fire and Ash, rated PG-13, now playing.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up on The Blitz, so much going on, including the Spurs, who had the Grizz, and the Lakers coming up.
And you look at Jerry Jones, his end of the season press conference. Obviously, he fired Eberflus. What did he have to say about the piss poor defense?
Must see radio or listen to, whatever you want to do. The Blitz starts at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. It's Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I am James Pleasure. Always appreciate y'all rolling through with me. Indy Kalu, former Houston Texan legend, if you will. He joined the Blitz a little bit earlier this afternoon to talk about their upcoming playoff game, not in the Texans time slot Saturday at 3:30. Instead, standalone Monday night as they take on old man Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers.
Texans playoff game. I do think Houston dodged a huge bullet because of one of your favorite positions in football, kickers. The dude from Baltimore missed the game-winning field goal, sending Houston to Pittsburgh instead of Baltimore. And if you're a Texan fan, to me, that's the best news possible.
I agree 100%. If you'd have asked me before the game, which team would you rather see? Obviously, you don't want to be disrespectful because when you say, I'd rather see this team, there's a negative connotation. But with the way that the front four for the Texans get after the quarterback, I just feel like you can really rattle Aaron Rodgers more so than you could rattle a Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry combo. So I'm 100% with you.
Well, and Indy, you got to be happy that game's on Monday night and not Saturday afternoon at 3:00. So that's a good thing for Houston too.
For the fan base, it's awesome. The players, I would think the players will be a little bit anxious, and playoff season, you're so excited about getting on the field. Then to play in the evening is awesome, but you're literally waiting around. Like this time on Monday, they're still going to be waiting around to get on the field. So you get a little anxious. But for the fan base, I think that is awesome. Monday Night Football, that's a playoff game. Come on, it doesn't get better than that.
Let's go in an area I didn't expect to go in, but you're right. That's an extra day to prep and all that kind of stuff on the road. But Houston, if they win that game, 16-12, now you're talking about a
6-3.
But then you're flying home from Pittsburgh in the middle of the night, getting home Tuesday at 5 a.m. or whatever, and now you've got a short week to get ready for the next round of the playoffs. So there is a negative to playing in that Monday night spot.
You know what? I didn't even think about the flip side, Jason. I just assumed that the team or teams that played on Monday, if they advanced, they would get the latest spots that you can give the following week. But you're right. Knowing the way the NFL treats the Texans, they might have to mess around and play the Friday game. Like they might put them to play a Friday night high school type game. But no, you're right. On the back ends or after the game with less time, maybe a whole day that you don't get to recover, I'm with you. That can show up on the field.
All right, Indy, I've got to ask you a question because that vaunted Texans defense didn't look too vaunted against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. Is it human nature that you've got a backup quarterback starting, and well, it's the last game of the season, although at that time the Texans still had an opportunity to win that division. What happened to that defense?
You know what? I think it is human nature. Then if you notice, they were rotating the front seven more than they typically rotate. And when you start rotating guys and it's the end of the season, you know that you've already secured a playoff spot. You didn't win the AFC South, so you're not going to be hosting a game. I do think it's human nature to almost have that preseason feel to it. Like, hey, let's get this. We're going to try every snap. Once we put our hand in the dirt, we're going to give it all we got. But let's just get out of here unscathed so we can get ready for the playoffs. And human nature will, if that's your mindset, you're not going to play with the same intensity that you were playing to get to that point.
Now that said, and while the defense was a huge surprise because the Colts scored a ton of points, offensively, C.J. Stroud looked pretty good. 14-23, threw a touchdown pass. They ran the ball well. Offensively, did you see enough from Houston heading into the postseason? Did they show you what you were looking for?
They showed me enough for me to be optimistically excited and to understand that I'm not going to sit up here and compare this offense to one of the top offenses in the league right now, but it's trending in the right direction.
And it's been trending that way for quite some time, and CJ has looked better with each passing day, and I think they can compete with anyone as long as CJ takes care of the ball and that defense balls out. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure. I appreciate all of y'all for riding along with me today. Remember, you can catch everything in the audio vault at sasportstar.com. Call your loved ones, check on them. You never know what people are going through in life, and a simple, hey, how you doing, can help change everything. I love you all. We will see you tomorrow night right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Don't forget, start your day with Rob and AJ early in the morning on the Morning Huddle from 6 to 10, the Blitz 2 to 6, and, of course, round it out with me tomorrow from 6 to 7. Love y'all. Good night.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making a player pick for the first time, there's something that can't be too hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels so good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups, bowl games coming, tournament time, it is time to jump right in. When it comes to playoffs, you go with stars. Stars always produce. In the NFL, they get those stars because they're stars. And as we get closer and closer, I love Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a